Not bad, that, innit? A bit of Tupac to kick off this evening. This is kick off on talkSPORT. Myself, Andy Oladipo. Darren, what was you going to say, Darren? That's okay. You can jump in. It's fine.
And I was just wondering if Ronaldo was at home listening to this and thinking, I think I'll put a bit of Me Against the World on from Tupac.
It feels like it is me against one. Well, I feel like it's us against Ronaldo fans right now because they're coming for us.
Well, look, just to clarify,
and so they should.
Just before they start, before the hair starts running,
they're gonna start berating.
You are absolutely right to pull me up, because what I should have said and what is that. What we should be talking about is how good a player he is. And it's sad that we are spending the latter stages of Ronaldo's career talking about him being a disruptive influence that the big clubs don't want. It shouldn't be that way.
That's your take on it, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's your take. It could be other reasons why the big clubs haven't taken him. I don't think it's disruptors.
But that's based on my job, basically.
your sources. Cameron Jerome.
I was
with
about
us.
to get specific.
Cameron Jerome with us as well, Luton forward. The phone lines are busy. They're buzzing. Let's go straight to him. Lewis, the Man United fan. Lewis, do you still want Ronaldo at the club? What's your thoughts on it?
Evening, guys.
Evening.
No, I want him gone. Look, he's one of the greatest players ever. He's always a United legend, always will be. But he shouldn't have come back last season. We shouldn't have brought him back. Now he's causing more problems. He wants to go, clearly. Look, if he stays, we know what we're going to get. Yeah, he'll score some goals, but we're going to see the sulks, the strops, when it's not going his way, or if he's subbed or he's dropped on the bench. We're going to just see all that all through the season again. Just get rid of him. Just let him go. But it leaves us short. That's the only catch.
Yeah.
He is our only one and only superstar, world-class player. And yeah, we probably do lose that glittering stardust because he's Ronaldo. He gets everyone's attention. But what are we left with? Martial's not the answer. He's not
and Martial's not fit as well right now, so he's going to miss the game against Brighton.
He's been there 7 years. He's never going to be the answer, Martial. Yeah, he needs to go as well. The whole summer's been a mess. It's been about chasing De Jong, who not looking like we're going to get. Ronaldo saga's been going on for weeks, and we haven't bought. It's the same team, more or less. It's the same rubbish 11 who's flopped under several managers for 5, 6, 7 years, and they've proved they're not up for the job.
You know, the worst thing, Lewis, sorry to cut across you, is I think it's been a pretty decent pre-season for United. I've had a few friends that have kind of followed them on the tour, and they've just come back from Australia, and a lot of them think some of the youngsters, when given a chance, the likes of Zidane, Nick Bell, they've done actually okay. Look, I'm not saying that's enough for Man United to make a top 6 charge, but it's overshadowed what's been a decent start for Ten Hag, I think, this season.
But the point that Lewis is trying to make is that in terms of transfer business, attracting players that are going to drive the club forward, they've been floundering in the transfer market. You haven't even mentioned, Lewis, the Frankie de Jong situation as well, where they're chasing a guy who very clearly doesn't want to come. And, okay, you could argue that he wants to be paid up first before he arrives, but the fact is that, for 2 decades under David Gill and Sir Alex Ferguson, the transfer business at Man United was very organised, very efficient. At the moment, it's very scattergun. It's very messy, has been for quite some time, to be honest, at Manchester United. And then on top of that, you've got this ill discipline. That's the only thing. And all of that offsets the promise of what you've been saying has been a decent pre-season in terms of younger players on the pitch. For me personally, I think even if you were to get rid of the superstar that is Ronaldo, you're probably still closer to where you want to be if you've got younger players who are committed to what the club are trying to do, rather than a superstar who wants to do what he wants.
It's interesting. What are you going to say, Cameron?
No, I was going to echo the same thing what Darren was just saying. And I think also it allows Ten Hag then to stamp down his authority on the club. I think he can't do that with Ronaldo there. I think Ronaldo holds that much power. I think, like we're seeing, he does what he wants, turns up when he wants. And I think Ten Hag is known to be a disciplinarian. He's come in and apparently put all these strict measures in place about, weight checks and diets and things like that. And he's got rules and regulations he wants the players to adhere to. I don't think he can do that fully with Ronaldo there. So I think the quicker he gets out of the way, Ten Hag can really stamp his authority in the squad. They can try and strengthen in the back end of the window, and they can, hopefully get off to a good start, and he can implement his style and do what he's been ultimately brought in to do, and that's improve Manchester United's fortunes.
Chris, Man United fan, what do you think? Ronaldo gone, sort of fresh start if he goes. Obviously, let's not forget Pogba went last month as well. Do you just want a fresh start? All the sort of the bad eggs leaving the club, and you start fresh with what you got now?
Yeah, hi guys. I mean, first of all, on the Ronaldo thing, I think just if he wants to go, just let him go. I love Ronaldo, amazing. Just let him go. But I also believe Ten Hag is not going to stand for it. I think he's got the personality. He's very strong-minded. I think he's not going to let this saga go on and on and on for the season. I think he's waiting for the near on the transfer deadline day, and I think he'll cut him if he has to, because I think he's so focused on what he wants. But
Chris, sorry to interrupt you. Chris, apologies for interrupting you, but you said he's not going to stand for it. Let's assume Ronaldo stays. What's Ten Hag going to do?
Well, look what they did to Bale and Real Madrid. Don't get me wrong, Ronaldo's one of the greatest footballers, well, in my opinion, is the greatest footballer that's ever lived. But if you're a manager of a team, you're the person that makes the decisions, and I truly believe he is big enough to make a decision to cut him.
If the board back him, there is a chance. Look, it'll be wild, but there is a chance that Ronaldo could just be on the bench, not even in the squad. I think we saw it with Arteta. And look, I'm not going to compare these players to Ronaldo because they're not. But we saw Arteta what he did with Ozil. We saw what he did with an Aubameyang situation as well. And everyone thought that was wild, and some still think it is.
But Addy, none of those players is Ronaldo.
That's wild. That's too wild. I haven't even thought about that.
I asked you the question before, but not necessarily about Ronaldo, but just in general terms, because I know you've been in a few dressing rooms. What's it like when a player undermines the authority of the manager? Because for me, if you stick Ronaldo on the bench, if Ronaldo has supporters in that dressing room, that undermines that dressing room. Those players who feel that he's being badly treated and suddenly their commitment level goes down because they want to show solidarity with, you've got a problem. So again, I just wanted to ask you, what's it like? Because you don't have to name names, but I'm sure you've been in situations where players have fallen out with managers and really challenged their authority, and that's caused a fracture, a schism in the dressing room.
Yeah, it does, especially with strong personalities. You know, with stronger personalities where people look up to. Obviously, Ronaldo's one of them guys where people will look up to him, some of the younger players. Some of his fellow countrymen as well, you know, people who speak the same language, same cultures. So he's going to be backed. So, yeah, it's not nice. It's not nice to see people challenging the manager's authority. And it happens in football, and people have disagreements and have their other motives for wanting to leave football clubs. But it's just not a nice atmosphere to be around, you know. It's chaos.
It's chaos there.
It is.
Chris, if not Ronaldo, you look at your forward line and look, I don't know how much faith you have in Martial. He's been there 6 or 7 years and hasn't really produced. Rashford, the Mason Greenwood situation, still a cloud over the club. Who leads the forward line this season then?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? I think United are in a very bad place because of the end of last season. They're struggling to attract players because of how they finished and because they haven't got a style of play and they haven't got an identity. I asked myself as a United fan at the end of last season, what am I expecting next year? And all I want to see is I want to stand at the end of the season and say, we have an identity. When you look at Pep, when you look at Klopp and them sort of teams, players want to play for them because they know what they're going into. They know a system, they can see the style of play. United don't have that, and that's making it hard for players to make a decision to go there, so they're going into a mess. So all I want to see at the end of the season, Ten Hag has installed a style of play, an identity, so we can attract the players that we want, and at the minute we can't do it.
You certainly can't. It's so weird. Man United, who for 20 years, as you say, were able to attract the best players in the world in the Premier League, can't even get players through the door now, or at least the players that they really want.